Thank you, team, so much for jumping on this morning. I appreciate it. We are going to talk about 10 tips to optimize your time as we continue our Take Flight version 4.0. A little reminder that every one of these calls that I do can be seen as an independent, part of Take Flight. You don't have to start at the beginning and work your way through. You're going to get a lot of value out of just listening to these calls independently. But before I get into today's topic, I want to remind you of my professional purpose, and that is to help you, the broker advisor, optimize your productivity and help you become the best version of yourself. Why? Because happy brokers sell more real estate. And I do that by helping you handle challenges and opportunities that you face every single day. And if you can effectively manage certain situations that arise on a daily basis in your business, you will be more productive and you will live a life that is the best version of you. My ask is that you listen to these Monday Morning Pep Talks as if you are in a one-on-one coaching session with me, either on the phone or in my office. Okay. So on this 193rd episode of my Monday Morning Pep Talk, I will bring you 10 tips that I've learned and used over the years to optimize the time I've spent towards meeting my goals and serving the commitments of a crazy, crazy schedule. Sometimes it's not what you do with your time, but don't do with your time. And you'll see that as I go through my 10 tips today. The key word here is optimize. And that simply means to make the best or most effective use of a situation. We all have 24 hours a day and 365 days a year that we need to make sure that we get the most of. So how do we optimize our time? Let me give you my list. Got 10 things here for you today. Number one, eliminate anything that does not provide you a return on investment on your money or your time. I highly recommend that you do an audit on your marketing. And later in Take Flight, we're going to go into this in more detail, but do an audit on your marketing, do an audit on your database, do an audit on your time. Look at where you're spending your time. And if you're not getting a return on your time, eliminate it. Eliminate it. We think a lot of us just go do it because it's there in front of us. And we think that being busy is what matters. It's not. It's being effective. And this is how you have to, step one in optimizing your time is elimination. Okay. So eliminate anything that does not provide you an ROI on your money or time. Number two, automate everything that can be automated, both in your business and personal life. Okay. I use my calendaring system and reminders tasks in my Outlook. Anything that I do more than once over the course of a year, I put in as a reoccurrence on my calendar or in my tasks or to-dos, as Outlook likes to call it now. If you're in Google or Gmail, it's called a reminder. Okay. You calendar those things that require a specific time of the day, like a scheduled appointment, goes in your calendar. Anything that does not require a scheduled time or a specific date goes in your reminders or your tasks. And I have everything. I have over 300 reminders that I use, that I wake up every day and I say, okay, I program this into my system, into my Outlook. What is it that I've told myself to do previously? And that goes on my daily planning. It is incredibly effective, down to changing the filters in my refrigerators and the filters on my furnaces. I don't miss a beat because I have automated everything in my business and in my personal life. Number three, this will surprise some people, but so important, and that is update your devices at least every 2 years to improve response times. Part of my quarterly initiative for Q1 of 2023 was offload the old Mac that I had, my Mac laptop, and get a new one. I was hesitating to do it because I thought it would take a ton of time. Team, the way that these companies have these things set up now, I fully moved over all of my data onto my new Mac, had everything set up in about 2 hours. And let me tell you, the improved quality of response time, the ease of use, the updated system on that new Mac has been a game changer for me. So Q3, I need a new iPhone. It's been a little bit too long. In fact, for those of us, all of us actually, that use our phone every day, all day, we should probably update our phones at least once a year. I'm a little behind schedule. I need to get that new iPhone here, and that's going to be a Q3 initiative for me. So update your devices at least every 2 years to improve your response times. We're lucky that our businesses are literally on a computer, laptop, and a phone. We can run our businesses that easily. Number 4, use apps and software to run your systems and processes. This is talked a little bit about this last week, but you've got Close as an opportunity there for your database. You've got Monday.com for your transaction management systems. You've got ActivePipe for mail. All of these systems and processes are run through apps and software. Now, I realize that in some cases, if you're running a database of Google Docs or an Excel spreadsheet, listen, I understand. I'd rather have you do that than nothing at all. The best database is a database that you are going to use, okay? I'd rather have you do that than not at all. But try to move over to apps and software if you can for your systems and processes. Number 5, limit the time wasted scrolling and binging. Understand it's an addiction to dopamine, okay? And make the needed changes to protect your mind. On my email tomorrow that's going to come out on Tuesday, I have a book that I am going to put there as a review, and it's called Dopamine Detox. It's a very short book. You can read it in like an hour, but some good reminders on how to clear out your environment of binging and scrolling. That is not a way to optimize your time, is if you're constantly scrolling and binging. Not saying that you shouldn't watch a little bit of Netflix to wind down at the end of the day, but use it for that reason. But, the average person is watching 2, 3, 4 hours a day of TV and another 6 hours scrolling. I mean, what a waste. Number 6, calendar your high priority tasks and time block. Okay. If you've got a high priority task, put it in your calendar. And then when that comes up on your calendar, you set that time aside, put your phone on airplane mode to eliminate all of the distractions. Simple. You got to work on your business, and it's hard right now in Q2 because a lot of us are in the midst of our selling season. We get into Q3 and Q4, team. You got to really focus on working on those big projects. How do you do that? You time block. You calendar them as a high priority, and you use airplane mode to make sure you're not distracted. Okay, become a student of artificial intelligence and identify tools and prompts that can help eliminate wasted time. All right, this has been all the rage this year, right? And as my 7th category, I am starting to jump into artificial intelligence, especially in the area of writing, and not so much to do the writing for me, but to give me some different ways to look at certain things. It's been very helpful for some people is to use the AI to write listing descriptions, to write Instagram captions. So there is some real use for it. And step number 1 is becoming a student of it so you can use it. Number 8, delegate or outsource anything that can be done under your PPH rate, which is your profit per hour rate. We are looking at buying back our time. And there's a book that I am reading right now that is an absolute home run, one of my favorite books of 2023. I'm going to announce that next week, the name of the book, and I'm going to review it on my email next week. But it is a terrific book, and I'm super excited to bring you guys next week. And that really does come down to anything that is below your, let's call it your pay grade, right? If you take your 1099 numbers for the previous year and you divide by, for a real estate broker, call it 2,400 hours, that gives you your dollar per hour rate. And if there's something on your calendar that you're doing that can be hired out at or below that rate, you need to do it. So this is truly how super achievers and ELPs get to the next level, because they take that time and they reinvest it back into their family and they reinvest it back into their business. So that's a big one. Number 9, manage yourself to no more than 50 hours per week. If you're working more than 50 hours per week, see number 8, which is delegate yourself to no more than, delegate and outsource everything that can be done under your PPH rate. Team, at hour number 51, you start to lose effectiveness. Okay. Do not wear this hustle culture as a badge of honor. You will spiral at some point and crash and burn. I've seen it happen, and it's not pretty. So if you're working north of 50 hours a week, you really need to look at what you're doing and what you're spending your time on. Listen, there's going to be some weeks that you just can't get away from it, right? We're in that selling season. We're in that harvest season. My buddies that are on farms out in central Nebraska, they get in there in October, they get in their combines at 5 a.m. until 11 p.m. at night. Why? Because it's harvest season. And I realize that there are times of the year where you have to realize that and work your tail off. But as an average, no more than 50 hours a week. Really should be a little bit less than that, honestly. And number 10, create boundaries around your time and who you invest your time with, both personally and professionally. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no, right? It's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And another one of my favorite guiding principles is, 20% of your clients steal 80% of your joy. ELPs and super achievers get really good at sniffing out the 20%. They put them through interview processes and they listen for certain things. That comes with experience. What is experience? Experience is pattern recognition. You use pattern recognition is what your intuition, your gut uses to say, this is a little off. This doesn't seem a little bit right. This reminds me of something I've seen before that took full advantage. An ELP super achiever will say, this is not a hell yes. I'm going to move on, because everything I say yes to, I say no to something else. So if I'm saying yes to one of those 20% that's still 80% of my joy, guess what? There's other wonderful clients out there that you haven't even had time to think about, call, stay in touch with. That's how you optimize your time. Now, those are my 10 tips. There's an entire science behind time optimization, but most of the concepts are incredibly simple, and it's just a matter of implementing them into your world. It starts with truly understanding the dollar value of your time and protecting it. Say that again. It starts with understanding the dollar value of your time and protecting it. The time saved should be reinvested into your family, right? Into your life personally, or into higher value items in your business to help you grow your business. Now, on next week's 194th episode of my Monday Morning Pep Talk, I'll pull all of the concepts that I've talked about in the tail section, right? The tail of the plane, as it relates to systems, processes, habits, and routines. I'm going to kind of, summarize the last few weeks that we've been talking about these things and show you how having proper systems and processes, habits, and routines are paramount for you to see your vision become a reality. This tail section truly will take you from chaos to opportunity. This tail section will truly take you from chaos to opportunity, and that's going to be the topic of next week's call. If you are not on my email, please go onto my Instagram, Ask Jim Miller, go into the link. Under linked on my link tree, there's a section, the second section down, where you can go on and put your name and email address to get all of my content weekly. I've heard a lot of agents are using that, saving those almost like a textbook. And one of the better things that I've done since I've started this Monday Morning Pep Talk 8 years ago. But to say I'm grateful that you guys keep jumping on these calls and listening to these Monday Morning Pep Talks via the dial-in calls on Monday mornings or the podcast, my gratitude is at a really, really high level. It's to say I'm thankful is an understatement. So thank you everyone for jumping on the call. We'll jump on next week with, how to, take chaos and turn it into opportunity. And that's what this systems, processes, habits, and routines is all about. So I'll talk to you next week. Thanks, team.